Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome back to the Positive Perception YouTube channel, PosPer TV, if you will. And welcome back to a brand new season of GT3 racing. This is season number 9 of the Positive Perception GT Championship. It's ridiculous to think that we've had 8 in the books already, and I've not won a single one of them. Very sad indeed. We are kicking off, as you can probably tell, by the appropriate flag choice right on your screen now. We are at the Kyalami Grand Prix circuit in South Africa for the curtain raiser for the season of a 5-round championship based over the next 10 weeks. After this one, on the 26th of October, we'll head to Suzuka. Imola will be our host for the halfway point race on the 9th of November. Donington Park will be our penultimate round, and then we'll finish the season at Watkins Glen on the 7th of December. My name, as always, I think you probably come to know this by now, is David Wrestle. However, I've got a new friend in the commentary box with me. Ryan Walker is joining me for this season. Ryan, firstly, thank you so much for coming in. Really, real big pleasure to have you. How are you? And I'm hoping you're going to say this, although I figure you'd probably say this anyway. Are you looking forward to this?
Yeah, hey David, it's good to be here, and thanks for the opportunity to commentate on the series this season alongside your good self. And yeah, I'm doing good, and looking forward to this race today around Kyalami, one of my favourite tracks on the ACC platform, and it's a great track to race around or just lap around in general. And I think tonight with these GT3 cars as well, with a good turnout, 32 cars, I believe, it should be a good one.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Always a good one, the curtain raiser. Always nice to see new faces on the grid, new liveries, new track selections. And I'm sure I can speak on behalf of everyone on the track, Ryan, and I can speak on behalf of everyone who's watching the stream, including Joran Omlo, who's Sergeant Glivercont in the chat. Hopefully he doesn't continue to chat with us, because he is due to be racing this evening and he is in the server. But we are normally blessed with quite a lot of action in these races, so hopefully you're going to be privy to a rather entertaining race. Should be a good one. But yeah, like you say, Kyalami's just it's a proper track, isn't it? Like, overtaking spots all over the place, loads of opportunities for action, and it just looks easy on the eye, doesn't it?
It absolutely does, and it's such an amazing track. There was a time for a while, for a few years anyway, that the track wasn't really being used, I believe, and I think can't remember who it was that brought it. I believe it was the Porsche brand that bought the track and basically done some upgrades and brought it back to life. And yeah, it's hosts the real life 8 hours or 9 hours of Kyalami. I can't remember exactly, but it's a fantastic track, and I think tonight should be a good one as well. And there's plenty of passing opportunities as well. You've got that the turn 2 hairpin rather, and then you've got that the run down to turn 6 as well. And I think apart from that, there's not really many passing opportunities, so I think patience and also strategy as well with the mandatory pit stop could come into play.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so it's 5 rounds, all 60 minutes this one, similar to we had 2 last season. We've continued to steer away from the different durations of race for whatever reason. It's not my choice, so I'll commentate on what I'm told to commentate on, essentially. But yeah, you're right. Tyre stop mandatory, so you'd assume that most people are probably just going to split the race in half, aren't you? Like Kyalami, look, this is where my lack of proper racing knowledge comes in. I don't think it's particularly hard on tyres, but when you're going to be losing half a minute anyway, I would imagine, Ryan, the strategy is probably going to be fuel half the race and aim to pit at that halfway point. Do you think?
It's quite possible. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if like you say, if some drivers decide to split the race in half, maybe try and get close to that 30-minute remaining mark in the race, or maybe, from my experience of doing 60-minute races, some drivers tend to pit round about 35 to 40 minutes remaining in the race. And I think it depends where you are in the field. If you're stuck if you're stuck in a pack, it's maybe worth pitting early and maybe trying to do a bit of an undercut and get some clear air.
Yeah, it's not a bad shout at all. I suppose, yeah, you just got to take into account maybe what the what the grid or what the track will look like at the end of it. It's a 2 p.m. start, I believe, in the server itself. I'm just trying to remind myself. I can't see it at the moment. I'm pretty sure it's a 2 o'clock start in the afternoon. Don't think there's any rain forecasted, so it should be a dry one. The guys are just going through the briefing at the moment, which of course obligatory for the first round of the season, and customary for all the other ones as well. And I suppose, yeah, you're right. I mean, there's 36 people in the session now, so it's going to be a busy one. So at least nice good split of AM, Silver, and Pro cars as well. But yeah, it's going to be a good one. I'm looking forward to it. I think, yeah, Kyalami is always a good good way to kick things off. And yeah, you can pick a worse combination of tracks, I feel. Suzuka in a couple of weeks as well, going to be an absolute smasher of a race. So yeah, it's going to be a good season, I think, and I'm delighted, Ryan, to have you along for the ride.
Yep, it should be good fun, and yeah, I think qualifying could be the key to the race as well, because I think you have loads of cars as well. I can't remember how they're doing qualifying. Maybe you could correct me if I'm wrong, David, but I think they quite possibly do they qualify all the classes on track at the same time, or is it split into...
No, it's general qualifying. Yeah, so I think I should know this. Pretty sure it's 20 minutes qualifying, unless they've changed it since I was last around. So I could be wrong, but I'm 99% sure it's a 20-minute qualifying. In fact, no, it definitely is, because the races always start pretty much bang on 8 o'clock in the evening. So that's definitely what it'd be. Yes, but it's overall qualifying. So having 36 cars on the track, you'd imagine it's going to be relatively difficult to make some space. And like you say, we've got a track where there's not a huge amount of chances for you to really get out of the way, I don't think, on a slow lap. You think about it, like obviously you've got the main straight, fair enough, you can get out of the way there. You've got the second straight, kind of the back straight after the first chicane, and possibly you've got a little bit of the run down the hill towards the final sector, but you're right, there's not a huge amount of space to really kind of stay out of the way of someone. So traffic management in qualifying and in the race is going to be really important.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Kyalami, it looks like it's a long track, but in some places it's, like you say, it's really narrow, and you can't really just jump out the way. There's not really many straights as well that you can get out the way. So timing your qualifying laps, when to do your qualifying laps, and try and find some clear air is going to be absolutely vital around here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Not long until we get qualifying underway. As Joran's mentioned in the chat, briefing is very much done and dusted. And yeah, good practice for the 24 hours, the SGP 24 Hours of Kyalami in Aid of Dementia charity in a month's time. So I know Positive Perception, we've got a few cars ready for that one. I think we're going to be getting out the 3 teams, I think, which is a really nice thing to have. And yeah, kind of makes me wish I was out on the track as well. But I'm equally looking forward to commentating in this one as well. We'll have a nice little chat with Mark Raddenbury on the formation lap as well, a la broadcasts of old. Have a little natter with him and see what he's looking forward to. He has told me we need to look at the back of his car, Ryan, as well, because apparently he's put something onto his livery that he thinks we'll enjoy. I have no idea what it is. I've forced myself to not look at it before the race, so I am completely in the dark, and I'm not sure if I'm excited or worried.
Yeah, I was going to say, as soon as you said that you should be excited to see the back of it, it had me kind of worried. But yeah, I think I've not looked at it either. So yeah, I'm interested to see what the surprises that he talks about.
Yeah, he's so what did he say to me? He said, "Oh, an FYI, I'd recommend looking at the arse end of the Audi." I've got a rough idea as to what it might be. And if it is, he's done it very late in the day, because I was chatting to him last night, and Mark will very openly admit that he is very prone to changing his mind on the car he chooses for each season. He goes through normally about 4 or 5, and he designs a livery for every one, which makes me laugh even more. I was away for work last night, and I was in a hotel bar, and he said, "I don't know whether I should go for the Audi or the BMW." And I said, I don't care. Just pick what you want. Like, doesn't matter to me. And he goes, "I'll flip a coin." I went, "I'll do it." So I flipped the coin. We called it heads and tails and picked what it was. And I sent them the picture back and it was a heads. And I said, right, you're in the Audi then. So he's only in the Audi because I let fate essentially choose it for him, which is quite fun.
So yeah, if Mark does terrible in the Audi, then I think you know I'll say he knows how to come after.
He knows exactly who to come after. You're absolutely right. Yeah, it's going to be. I'm going to be in the naughty, but on the naughty list if that is the case. He can change his car, of course, but as for those of you who aren't aware, the rules do stipulate that if you do change your car midway for a season, you will take a 50-point deduction. So in a 5-round season, we normally do 6, but we've gone back to 5 just with the C word on the horizon in a couple of months. Yeah, less of a chance to bank points, and like you said, although the qualifying isn't class orientated, the races very much are. So although there's an overall standings, we've also got the in-class standings as well. So it definitely spices things up a little bit. It does mean that when we get to the end of the season, Ryan, you and I will be having to get the abacus out to try and figure out who's going to be winning the championships in each class, because there's always so much change, which is always fun. Keeps you entertained throughout the season at least.
Yeah, indeed, and when it comes to maths, it's never been my strong point. So, yeah, I think me trying to calculate maths and championship points as well as it's never been my strong point. But yeah, you talk about the separate classes as well for the series. I think it's a good thing, because I think from my experience of doing league racing on ACC, having separate classes is a good thing. So because say for example, if you're not slow, but you're not as quick as maybe the front runners that are up at the very front, at least if in the separate class you've still got something to fight for. You can still race with other drivers, and even if you don't win overall, you've still got a chance of possibly doing well in a separate class.
Absolutely, it certainly means that we do get a lot of action up and down the field, and it's good because, like you say, you got people battling for positions lower down the grid, but for them it could be a podium position. So it definitely adds an extra element of spice into the mix thing. Speaking of spice, qualifying is now underway, so the cars are out on track and starting their reconnaissance laps, you'd call them, getting those tyres warmed up. We're seeing pit walls suggesting that we've got loads of purple lap times, which of course we don't just yet. That will come in time, I'm sure. Who are the names that we need to be looking out for? Probably this man on screen at the moment, Russell Matthieson of the Hexagon Nation team. He'll be one to keep an eye out for in that Ferrari 296. Marcus Hagel, Miles Dixon, to name a few. There's going to be some pretty quick lap times in here, Ryan. We're probably looking at something around the low 40s, I think, which is seriously showing what the kind of pace you've got. And it'd be interesting to see what the spread is across the grid with 36 cars on track.
Absolutely, and I think don't be surprised if you see if you see low 141s, even maybe a 140 from some of these quick drivers, because around here I think Kyalami, if you want to do well and try qualify up at the front, is one of those tracks that you've got to be, from my experience, you've got to really be committed and wring the neck out of the car to set a really quick lap. So yeah, don't be surprised if you see maybe a 140 during qualifying.
Absolutely. I think if there's going to be one person who will get anywhere near it, it's probably this man, Marcus Hagel, the winner of last season's Pro Championship, of course. So he's the double reigning champion now, showing that pace and consistency is equally as important. I've just realised I'm probably completely wrong, because I'm pretty sure he didn't have the best of seasons. I'm actually going to try and figure this out whilst they're going around on their laps. He's the first one on track to be putting a fast lap time in as well, although McLaren there slightly in the way. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting... It's a track, yeah, you're absolutely right. You've got to put everything on the table. And it's a track that I love it. I absolutely love Kyalami as a track, because it's... For me, it's like the old school ones where you're either on the limit and your lap is absolutely spot on, or you're in the wall. And I just think that's great. I think that kind of level of what's the word, like kind of risk versus reward is perfect on a track like this, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And the sub corners, it can catch you off guard as well. Uh, Especially this corner here that we're coming up to, that Marcus is coming up to. This right-hander with that inside yellow curve, that can really, it's one of those corners that can make or break the lap, because if you turn in too early and clip that yellow sausage curve, that can unsettle the car and spin you around or even put you in the wall. As Marcus is coming up to the line now and to set his first time, and he sets a low 141. So yeah, a good lap from Marcus from the get-go.
Although immediately, this is the man who's going to be turning in his car at the moment, because he is actually the one who I should have said is the reigning champion in the pro class this year, Kyalami, still of Pulse Sim Sport. So I'm still going to give myself that element. But he's immediately dipped into the very, very low 141, so 141.087, which is incredibly quick to kick things off, and showing that Porsche is pretty quick around here. And I say it again, we're into the 40s because Damien Konchik has gone into the 40.8. So he was saying, Ryan, we might get into the 40s. It didn't take very long.
Yeah, if we're getting into the 40s already, I'll probably sound brave for saying it, but don't be surprised if you see someone do a low 140 or even get into the 39s.
Yeah, if we see a 39, I'll be very, very impressed. I think it's possible. I know that Marcus was going quicker than that in the practice session before, but I didn't actually see his best time, so I can't tell you exactly what he did. But what I can tell you is it is looking rather close up at the top. The top five separated by 0.8 of a second at the moment. Konchik leads Jürgelis, leads Hagel, leads Coupland, leads Mathiesen, and then Mark Neuterling's the first of the silver class drivers, and Martin de Groot leading the way in the AM class at the moment. Here comes Marcus Hagel coming through the final corner once more. See if he can get the right drive out of there. Goes a little bit wide, but you got a little bit of growth, a little bit of work there to do. Comes up the line, does improve, not by enough, still in the 141s, but nearly on the cusp of that 140.
Yeah, absolutely. And another good lap from Marcus. And I think Kyalami, it's a track. It's a track that seems to suit the Audi. I don't know if it's maybe just the characteristics of the car and the track as well. But the Audi, from what I've seen in other leagues that I've raced in, it's a really quick car. Is Ashley Coop? Sorry if I butcher your name, Ashley. Coupland comes across the line up into 5th place.
But look at the man behind him. That's a 140.1 on his second qualifying lap from Damien Konchik. He's a new man to this league. He's not a name I have seen on the track before, and he's doing everything he needs to at the moment to light up these timing boards. That is a ridiculously quick lap time. I don't think I've got anywhere near a low 41, let alone a low 40. That is insane. He's 9 tenths quicker than everyone else.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. We're only probably only about 5 minutes into this qualifying session, and already we're all just about close to getting into the 139. So if someone can get into the 39s, which is more than possible, I think this man here, Damien, could absolutely do that. As we'll go back and look at Jay Brooker, currently 11th at the moment with the Lamborghini, another car that's really suited to this track. And I think the cars that will probably suit this track from my experience will probably be the Audi, the Porsche, the Ferrari, and the Lamborghini.
Yeah, absolutely. The Lamborghini is one of those that always tends to land well. He's 7 tenths up at the moment coming into the final corner, so Jay's going to put himself firmly up into the top 6, I would think, assuming he keeps it on the black stuff. Crosses the line, puts himself 6th, so yeah, just about in the top 6. As we say good evening to Ace's boy Alex Newman in the chat. Good evening to you, sir. Hope you're doing well. Who else have we got that's putting in a good lap time? This man here, Amadeo Pagliara, Monk of Monza. I like that team name. Very good. Again, another new name to the to the league this season. Coming through the final couple of corners, he's got the same amount of time Jay Brooker had on the table. It's about 6 tenths up. Again, it's enough to probably get him a good sort of 5 or 6 positions, but he has just lost a little bit going through the final corner. So we'll see where that time does push him to. Push him up to P23, a 143.4. Just over, or just under, sorry, halfway through this qualifying session. 12 minutes on the book still. But it's still Konchik, who's still sitting pretty at top time boards, a 140.1. That is insane. He's actually slightly quicker at the moment on his personal best as well. He's not quick enough to break into the 39s, but I wouldn't be too surprised, Ryan, if we saw that, just given the fact that he's I mean, that is just absolutely rapid. I can't believe it.
Yeah, I can't believe it. A low 140 possibly he could get into the 139 if he basically puts in a really clean lap. And but yeah, just watching him at the moment, they going by a lap carts on the inside, and this is what we were talking about. It's so difficult to get out of the way, but it looks like everyone's being sensible and heads up as well. So good to see. And as Damien's come up to the trickiest corner on the track, I find with this yellow inside sausage curve, clips it a little bit and runs a little bit wide, but looks nice and clean as he comes up to the final corner. And I think having a car in front of him might provide a slipstream as he comes up to the line, and it looks like it could be an improvement as
it was close. I was watching it. He was 2 temps up as he went through the right-hander cheetah, the second last corner. I thought he's gonna have it here, he's gonna have it, and then he just slipped. I don't know if he just lost the back end coming out the final corner, but yeah, lost about probably 200ths of a second, and that ultimately impacted the lap time. But I mean, a 140.042 is still super quick. Dusan Vojinovic now is into the 40s as well, so he's currently sitting P2. Jurgelis still the first of the drivers in the 41s, but only by 17 thousandths of a second. So still time on the table as Miles Dixon now across the line. He's got 8 tenths on his personal best at the moment, puts himself into the 40s and put himself into P2 at 140.560. This is the man, Ryan. If you've never seen Miles Dixon on the track before, he's a sandbagger to the highest degree. He will appear, and he won't mind me saying this, by the way, just before it makes it sound like I'm giving some serious shade. He will turn up, he'll say he has had no practice, he'll change his car at the last minute, and he'll still absolutely smash it. And that is a prime example of what he can do.
Yeah, it sounds similar to the real life the GT racing, or GT3 racing. Some drivers will say they're struggling and basically play that whole sandbagging game, and then all of a sudden when it gets to qualifying, they'll just bang out of nowhere. They'll put in a really quick lap.
Pace just appears as if it's by magic. It's just appeared on the table. We see Poe in the Aston Martin F1 GT3. It's a very nice livery, that one, I have to say. It's one of those, it's basic in the nice way possible, but it just looks really nice, I think, as he comes through the final couple of corners into the braking zone at the final corner. He's got Craig Hewlett. Oh! Craig Hewlett right behind him. Craig Hewlett P15 and was improving. Won't be now. It shows you how you got to give you that bit of space on a flying lap, doesn't it? And Poe does improve, gets himself up into P30 now.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about with Kyalami. You can leave as much space as you want around this track, but sometimes you can catch up to a driver that's maybe not as quick, and as we saw there with Poe and the car behind him, it's just sometimes the traffic can get in your way, and it can ruin your lap sometimes, but that's just the way it goes. And I don't think Poe was going slow on purpose. It's just some drivers are not as quick, and I don't mean that in a bad way. As I look at Colin Dunn at the moment, currently down in P33, I have to say the Lamborghini on ACC is probably one of my favourite cars, and there's a bit of a running joke that's went around in the past as well because of with Audi, Lamborghini and Audi, I should say. Some people will call this a Lamborghini. I always call it the Audi Guinea because both cars in the past anyway have been known to share the same engine.
I was going to say they also sound identical, so yeah, you're not far wrong. Good evening to Peter Phillips in the chat. He's just finished training. He doesn't think 8 minutes is enough time to get the PC on and sort out a setup and get on track. I think that's probably fair. You might struggle a little bit in that case. I have just noticed that I've left a chat command on from the last time we streamed at the 24-hour Spa for the charity race, and we've just seen the charity link has appeared. If you do want to donate and it's still open, you're welcome to, but I'll make a note to take that one off of the auto-generated chat messages in future. Let's see, so 7 minutes left, and Matt Damon popping in the chat. He's cheering on the Lonely 992 in the pro class, which is, where's he gone? Where's his name? There he is, Karolis Jurgelis in the Pulse Sim Sport 992. And that is a different Matt Damon, Ryan, to the actual Matt Damon. I'll just make that clear. So,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
I was about to say, if it was the actual Matt Damon, as in the actor, that's interesting sim racing, and I approve. But yeah, unfortunately, it's a different Matt Damon. But hey, either way, still having that famous name is still a good thing. As you look at Michael de Groot coming to the final corner, and I have to say, David, I'm actually liking that livery.
There's some interesting sponsorship opportunities, Ryan. I think it's probably what I would say. I can see a couple of interesting ones. I'm going to choose not to name them. I think those who are watching can probably see what we're on about. Let's move to someone else before he comes into the pits. Here's Ollie Gio and the EMI old school British GT McLaren that Mark Roddenberry's designed. He would hate me if I didn't say that because he spent so much time building a British GT livery pack. And to be fair, it doesn't look half bad in my opinion. He is not a dab hand at the old livery stuff, even if I may say so myself. We've got 5 minutes left. Damien Konchik still on the provisional pole. He is 5/10, half a second, let's just call it that, ahead of Miles Dixon. Konchik is in the pit, so he may come out for the lap, but might not. Miles Dixon, looks like he's going around to start a flying lap. Yeah, I can just see him, number 94 on the track map, coming into the final corner. So he'll start a new lap. Adam Vasalovic is in third place. He's in the pit lane at the moment. Konchik is now out on track. Dusan Vojinovic, Karolis Jurgelis, Marcus Hagel, Ash Coupland, Russell Mathieson, Jay Brooker, and Chris Jenkins is currently your top 10 as Ollie Gio across the line. Gains a bit of time. I quite like that, Ryan. There's a lot of 8s. There's 4 8s in a row at the end there for De Groot, Gilles, Massiera, and Dunn. I like my themes like that, and that's very nice indeed.
Absolutely, and I do like this livery as well that he always using at the moment. It looks pretty cool, and sort of reminds me of an old British GT livery from the 90s that I used to watch sometimes on TV. I can't remember what it was on a McLaren, but I can't remember.
It is that livery. That's the one there. Yeah, do you know what? It threw me as well because I've seen it on because it was on the old McLaren F1, wasn't it? I think I want to say, and I remember seeing it and thinking, oh, that looks really nice. I saw it on this and it looks almost identical because it makes you realise how little the chassis actually changed between the old McLaren F1 and the 720S Evo because they look almost identical when you put them together.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it reminds me of the McLaren in the 90s. I think there was two versions in the 90s that they raced. There was I think it was a short tail version, and I think there was a long tail version. And both cars I loved watching as a kid, and yeah, it's good to. I think the current McLaren, it's out on track these days. It's not too far off, and I think that's why McLaren they kind of stick to that as well because it seems to do well and it looks good. And as I look at that coming into the final quarter as well, and again I'm liking that livery with the Red Bull sponsorship.
Yeah, we're fortunate we get a lot of good liveries here. To be fair, there's quite a few. There's plenty more that we haven't seen as well, which is always good fun. And we've still not had a look at the rear end of Mr. Roddenberry's car, but we'll do that when we do our customary grid walk, and we'll see what everyone's liveries are looking like. Bacek I think he gained a bit of time. I don't think he actually gained a position though. So he's still sitting P20 just outside just inside the top 20. Says he goes sliding through barbecue there. That's probably not the optimal line, and as a result, yeah, it does lose a quarter of a second. Konchik back in the no. He's making me look bad. Konchik was back in the pit lane. He's now literally just escaped the pit lane, so he's going to try one last time, you'd think, to get a lap in. At the moment, though, Ryan, we're not seeing a huge amount of improvement. The only person who's showing any signs of improvement, really, at the moment is this man, Andy Husting, in the number 199 car, in the 296. What's his best lap time? 142.997. He's about a tenth and a half up at the moment, and that's going to, potentially, if he can continue that trend, might give him a couple of positions and get himself a little bit further into that kind of mid-pack area.
Yeah, quite. But what was it actually?
He won't do that. That won't work.
He won't do that anymore. But yeah, I think Konchik, can he get into the 139s? I think it's more than possible. If hooks it all together and puts in a perfect lap. But I think he, just looking at the track conditions as well, 23 degrees ambient and the 30 degrees track temperature. So don't know, but I think it depends on the track conditions as well. And but as well, look at Ashley Coupland at the moment, currently down in 7th place and getting a bit of a slide on there on the exit. I think he looks to be on a decent lap at the moment, and if he can find a 10th or two, he could put himself up to possibly up into P6 or P5.
Yeah, he's looking quick. Yeah, he's got just under 4/10 on there at the moment, so he's got a little bit of work to do. But yeah, he's got to get what, three. Well, let's call it. He's got to get 4/10 really, isn't he? There's no point trying to figure the maths out. He's got to get 4/10, and he's not getting that at the moment. But he will get one more bite of the cherry once he comes through here, assuming he's got enough fuel. He's got 51 seconds left in the session, so still chance for him to potentially get another uptime. I mean, he does improve, puts himself closer to Carlos Jurgelis, but doesn't improve enough. And as you can see by the timing tower on the left-hand side, everyone, positions 2 through 6 all in pit lane. So barring as much as I hate to say, a miraculous lap time from Ash Coupland on this final lap, Damien Konchik is pretty much confirmed to be getting pole. I suppose the question for us, Ryan, is will he get that elusive 1:39? He's not on the timer just yet, but he's got half a lap to go to do it.
I think I don't know. I think it's maybe possible, but it just depends if he can put in a perfect lap. I think you could do it, but I think either way, no one can really touch him. He's about pretty much half a second ahead of P2, and I think even if he doesn't improve, he's still got pole position in the bag.
Yeah, exactly. He's not improving at the moment, so he's not going to be taking that 39 as it stands, nor is Ash Coupland. He's a little bit off the pace right now. Here is that man, Damien Konchik, coming through the final couple of corners. Qualifying is now over, so these will be the final laps for all of these guys on track, and then we'll rush over, I should say, to the grid, and we'll run you through the grid for the first race of the season in the Positive Perception GT Championship. He's coming through the final couple of corners, and instead he's going to, rather disappointingly, I must say, is going to elect to test his pit lane entry instead. He wasn't going to improve, so I'm not entirely surprised. This man has got a little bit of time on the table if he can get the final corner hooked up. Mark Neutelings might potentially get himself into the top 10 if he gets it right. Doesn't look like he will, though. Again, not improving by enough. And that will be pretty much the final lap time to go on. So there you go. Qualifying in the books, Ryan. And we've got a 5-second gap. 5 second? A 5/10 of a second gap between P1 and P2. I'm sensing some F1 Max Verstappen vibes coming off the back of this. But the good thing is the rest of the grid is incredibly tight. We've got a second between 2nd through 12th. We've got another second down to 22nd as well. It's looking like we're going to have a really competitive field on our hands. And hopefully, I'll keep my fingers crossed, but only one set of fingers, because apparently if you do more than one, it deactivates the luck. Fingers crossed we might get a very interesting and eventful race indeed.
Absolutely, and yeah, that gap from Damien down to Miles Dixon, half a second, and that was pretty much I guess it could pretty much a Max Verstappen-esque gap, you could say.
Absolutely, he has showed some serious pace. Konchik has, that much is certain. Right, let me. Well, the segway's been plugged in. It's been plugged in all the way through the season, all the way through the off season, so it should be juiced up and ready to go. We'll see if it's able to take us through a little rundown of the grid. It is warmer than it was before, so we've gone up a couple of degrees in terms of track temperature. So let us run through and let's have a look at the grid for this evening's race. Let's hope we don't get too much kind of bumping around while they change the setups, because that can normally happen through this one. I've got to try and remember 36 names. I've had to plan my screens accordingly so I can see all of them. So, as we said before, Damien Konchik will be on pole position in the Damco racing car. Miles Dixon will line up alongside him in the first of 4 Pulse SimSport machines. There's the bouncing. Adam Isalovic is P3 with Marcus Hagel alongside him on the second rotor grid. And Dusan Vojinovic is the first of a few BMWs with Carolus Jurgelis, that's sole Porsche. She's not the sole Porsche, there's 3 of them, in P6. Ash Coupland and Russell Matthieson are on the 4th row of the grid, and that is Jay Brooker and Chris Jenkins, who round out the top 10. Mark Neutelings is the first of the teens in the first of the 10 to 20s in there. He's in 11th place. Liam Knott alongside him in 12th. Jan van Visser is 13th. Ivo van Collenberg in P14. Ottens is in 15th with Rich Pixley in the Wild Things racing car alongside him. Craig Hewlett is in P17 with Scott Carson alongside him. Colin Dunn and Ollie Gill will round out the top 20. And now I'm going to speed this up and have a look around, because this is the car that I've been told to look out for. This isn't the livery that I was showing the other day. So this is a new livery for Mr. Raddenbury. Now let's go and have a look at the back. I hope David... Oh, it's not what I expected. I hope David sees this. There you go. Ryan, you've seen it as well, so it's a joint effort.
Yeah. Not as a... Yeah, that's cool to see. I was expecting something completely different. But...
I was expecting something a lot ruder, to be honest, but I'll take that. Where were we? So Andre Bacek, P22, James Buchanan and Michael de Groot in P23 and 24. Henry Trumanen and Massiera are on P25 and 26. Amadeo Pagliara and Andrew Husting, P28, 27 and 28. Poe and Joran Omlo in the final of the 230 positions. Rob Bessent in P31. Martinez in 32nd. Nick Karayanis in 33rd. Lisa Louise, P34. Thomas Hackinson and Stuart Cherry will round out the grid for this one. That was a very, very busy driver grid we had to go through there, right? Hopefully we see all 36 of them, come the end of the race. But we've got a nice little formation lap to get on with first. Got a couple of minutes until we kick things off. I'd ask you for a prediction, Ryan, but given that qualifying session, I feel like it might be a bit of a cop-out with the answer that you probably go for. And I wouldn't blame you for going for it, to be fair.
Yeah, I think... I don't know. I think qualifying, it was pretty much a half a second gap up at the front to P2, but I think the race could be completely different. Obviously, with the... I think the race could be different, but I think if Damon can get away up at the front and survive turn one, I think if he can build a bit of a gap, he could be pretty much untouchable.
Yeah, he's certainly looking very quick indeed. Of course, we have got that one pit stop to play for. So one mandatory tyre stop. You'll see on the timing tower when we go back on to the race itself that there is a little one next to everyone's names. That is suggesting that they are yet to serve their pit stop. Of course, they can't serve the pit stop because the race has started, which is completely fair enough. And a good evening to... Oh, no, we've said good evening to everyone in the chat. And a good job from Alex as well. That's very nice. I know he'd love to be here in the commentary box as well. He's my... I was telling you before the stream, wasn't I, Ryan, that I want to disappear into the background and let you guys deal with it. Alex is my... I'm waiting for him. He's all I'm waiting for. Once he's back up and 100%, I'm disappearing off into the background and you'll never hear me again. Well, you guys will, but no one else will. 'Cause nobody wants that.
But yeah, I think turn one. I think turn one could be. I don't want to say it, but I think it could be a bit chaotic with pretty much 30 plus cars in the grid, and with the cars being bunched up into turn one. I think it could cause a bit of a concertina effect, but hopefully everyone's sensible on lap one and just settles down before getting into a battle.
Yeah, it could be a busy one indeed. Hopefully not too busy for the stewards after this one, but hopefully busy for us in the commentary box as we wait for things to get underway. We will grab Mr. Posper boss man himself, Mark Raddenbury, into the comms box for a quick little natter, if I can find the right Discord server. Let's do that first. Hopefully he's not going to be effing and jeffing like he can sometimes fall foul of doing. Mr. Raddenbury, you are live. Please do not swear. Good evening. How are you?
Good. How are you guys? Welcome to season 9, everyone.
No, it's very exciting. You'll be pleased to know that we did see the back of the car. It wasn't as rude as I expected it to be, which is partly disappointing, but also I'm glad for the little kids watching.
I was winding you up a bit, wasn't I, with that?
You did have me thinking, and I think Ryan and I both thought the same thing. We were both convinced that it was going to be something untoward. So I'm kind of pleased that it wasn't, to be honest.
Doesn't it look good?
Very nice rainbow colour. I actually forgot that you'd done a new livery as well. I knew you said you were going to do one, but I'd forgotten you'd done it. So when I saw the cars, that doesn't look right. Doesn't look like it should at all. Anyway, let's focus on the task at hand. How was qualifying for you? How is the Audi?
It's a Marmite car, isn't it? You either love it or you hate it. And at the moment, I'm in the middle with it. I like it, but it doesn't like me.
It likes Kyalami though, and that's the important thing.
What it does for somebody else.
It does for the man on pole who got a 140.042 or something.
Absolutely blistering time.
Ludicrous like that. Ryan and I were talking about it, and we both kind of thought, yeah, well, maybe we'll get into 41s, maybe low 41s before the end of qualifying, and then within I think it was about 2 laps, he did that 140.04. I was like, oh, okay, that's how we're playing.
Miles, I believe.
Yes, absolutely. Got your race engineer hat on. Know what's going on.
Stonking time.
How are you feeling ahead of the race? Qualifying, happy with it? What do you think in terms of kind of expectations for the race itself?
I could have gone quicker in qualifying. I tried something on my last stint and it didn't work for me. So we'll just, head down, play the long game, see how we go in the race, and yeah, see where I go for pit stops.
Oh, I was just about to ask you that. I was going to say, what's your strategy going to be? But I know you're normally a closed book when it comes to this.
I honestly haven't got one for this race. I was thinking halfway, but that's all I've got in my head at the moment.
I think you'll be one of many people who will go halfway for that one. Anyway, I can see you lining up in double file now, so I'll leave you to it. Good luck for the race. I'll move you back to the comfort of the general channel, and we will see you soon.
Boys and girls.
Oh, I cut him off at the end there. That was rude. So, Mara there. Nice little natter with him before the race kicks off. What is Damien Honchik doing this far ahead of everybody else? Very, again, serious Max Verstappen vibes I'm getting from this. He's just slowly waiting around for everyone to catch him up, isn't he? Which is a strange. I've never seen it done like that before.
Yep, as they come around the final corner, rather, and they will be underway, just waiting for the green lights, and we'll be underway as David, over to you to call the action. Yeah,
waiting for the green light to go any moment now to kick off the curtain raiser of season 9. Green flag is... Where is it? There it is, green flag goes. And we're underway here at Kyalami. Damien Honchik gets a stormer of a start and immediately goes across to cover the gap into the first corner. Look at him going for the really early inside line. Miles Dixon will follow him through. Adam Misalovic on the inside there into turn 1. It's just going to get pinched a little bit by the Audi of Marcus Hagen and is going to lose that position. As a result, looks like we've had a lot of change of position. We've got a few cars pointing in the wrong direction. One of them, being Craig Hewlett. We'll see if we can catch what happened there. And we've got Ash Coupland in the mire as well. We'll see if he can see him being spun around. There he is, just on the outside of the first couple of corners. Let's see if we can catch what happened there. Where is he? Car number 88. Here it is. Let's see if we can get this replay and see what happens. As they come into the first couple of corners, he's got Dusan Vujinovic there. Gets on the curb. Oh, it was the wrong yellow curb, Ryan, that you mentioned in qualifying, but he hit it anyway. After getting a little bit caught up with a couple of other cars, so not the start that he would have wanted. Importantly, though, I have just noticed as well that Damien Honchik has dropped down into P3 already. Again, not quite sure what's happened there. See if we can catch this. He was in the same incident, but apparently. So we'll see what happens. Does he get caught up in a little bit of a nudge? Not sure if he gets a little bit of contact coming through there and gets on the sideways. And presumably, yeah, it looks like Hagel's going to get that position done. So not the start he would have wanted, but if there's anyone who, Ryan, feels like he might have the pace to make that positions back, it's probably him based on the qualifying session.
Yeah, I think Damon's probably not happy with that start because it's not what he wanted. He wanted to try and escape. He wanted to try and escape in turn 1 and try and pull away. But yeah, I think he not a bit of a scrappy start. But Miles Dixon up into the lead and Hagel into second, and Damien, I think he'll be wanting to try and regain positions as it looks like he's going for the send in turn 2 rather, and tries to take that position. But Hagel is having none of it.
No, he did really good defending there from Hagel. He's going to look up the inside now into Barbecusi. Oh, a little bit of an overlap, but no, he's not going to get the move done. Adam Misalovic is probably sitting there at the moment with bated breath thinking, right, if I can time this right, I've got 2 positions on the cards here. As Jay Brooker, interestingly, is in the pit lane. I'm not sure what's caused that. He's seen a couple of people in the pit lane. He looked like he actually went straight there. I don't think he was there by choice. I don't think. So he's dropping right there back down. I can see Rich Pixley has lost positions. He's been caught up in something as well. We'll see if we can get some replays of them. when things start to bubble down a little bit. But in the moment, Ivo van Kollenberg, who's had a storm of a start from, I think it was P14, sorry, he's up 6 positions. He is up into P8 and he's battling with Dusan Vojinovic, but he does have Liam Knott very, very close behind him in the Turn 1 Sim Racing Lamborghini, one of a couple, Jay Brooker being the other one. But he's holding on for the moment. But this is one of those, isn't it, Ryan, where you've got to be so careful because you can lose so much time battling, and when the packs are as close as they are right now, it's so easy to try and make a move and then lose a couple of positions if you don't make it stick.
Yeah, absolutely. Kyalami is one of those tracks that want to try and make a move, but there's not really many passing opportunities, and you've got to be, like you say, you've got to be there's a couple of cars around in the background.
Yeah, so that was Colin Dunn and Poe there, I think it was. We'll see if we can catch a quick replay of that one before anything kicks off again. It just looked to me like it was going into this is a terrible camera angle, but it looks like, oh dear, that's a bit deep. Yeah, that is incredibly deep on the brakes there. Good avoidance action from Mark Raddenbury to get out of the way of that one, and that's dropped Colin right the way back. Good to see from Poe that he's elected to give that position back and waited behind him, which is what we like to see. In the meantime, Adam Asalovic has made one of the moves on the 2 people in front of him. In fact, he has made them on both of them, but interestingly, Karolis Jurgelis has managed to get himself up into P2 instead. So all change over the first couple of laps this top 6. It's completely different to how it was when we started the race, which is, it's not what you normally expect, but I'm quite enjoying it nonetheless.
Yeah, me too. And I think some drivers are just a little bit too eager trying to make moves, and unfortunately, as we saw there, a couple of cars got spun round and had contact as well. And that's like you said, David. If you want to try and make a move, you've got to be very careful and try and make it stick. But Kyalami, I think it's just one of those tracks you've got to have patience.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you say, there's a couple of very good overtaking spots. You've got to kind of plan your moves. Oh, Joran Omlo nearly loses the back end of that Aston Martin V12, the lesser spotted V12. He was taking that around Bathurst for 12 hours last weekend. It's nice to see he's elected to choose it for the season as well, although I can't imagine he's going to be enjoying that for the entirety of season 9. It's not exactly the most the strongest car on the list of those you can get in ACC these days. And as a result, you can see Harry Tuominen is essentially just disappearing up the road to an extent because he's got that much pace on him. Here's a little bit of a battle back there. Richard Pixley is going to look like he's going to get past Lisa Louise as he's in the Nissan GTRs on against the BMW. Is he going to try and make up the inside? He does. Good move there. I think Lisa maybe made that a little bit easier than she had to, but I think she's playing the long game. Knows that Rich is out of position, knows he's going to need to try and get some positions, knows it's probably sensible not to slow that down. As we can see, Ryan, that Jamie Buchanan has already made his pit stop. So we talked about it. Might have been a forced move given some of the incidents at the start, but a lot of people, it looks like, serving those pit stops early.
Yeah, it could be a case of what I was talking about earlier. Some drivers maybe wanting to try and get some clear air, and if they get some clear air, it means they can put some really quick laps down and not be held up by traffic. And with that as well, they could also possibly put some down some quick laps and gain some positions as well.
Yeah, it's certainly something to keep an eye out for. We'll have to try and understand in the next couple of laps who really is who are the ones that we need to keep an eye out for in terms of where their positionings are, because I don't think anyone has pitted now from a position of a decent kind of stage on the grid without having been impacted. Like I'm looking at Ash Coupland, for example. We know he was at the top of the timing charts when we started the race. However, he got caught up in an incident in the first couple of corners of the course. So difficult for us to get any true representation as to where is a good position to be if you're pitting now, but we'll soon find out, I am sure. Simon Carson at the moment is in a bit of a sandwich. He has got Robin Ottens ahead of him, and he's got Jan van Visser behind him. He is Simon Carson, not Scott Carson, the Man City goalkeeper that I mentioned on the formation lap. I have got, Ryan, you'll start to understand this. I've got a terrible habit of assuming initials and just putting whatever name I think fits in there, and it's normally wrong. I would put money on it. See, it's not even Jan van Visser, it's Justin van Visser. Justin, I apologise. I'll never get them right. I'll either know it or I'll make it up and I'll get it completely wrong. But it tends to make for good quality audio.
That's all good. I tend to make the odd blunder as well from time to time. So, yeah, join the club.
We've seen Crofty do it on the F1 too many times now. I feel like it's been normalised as a thing that we do. Everyone makes mistakes. You've just got to get on with it. Enjoy it while it lasts. So who is this? This is Justin Van Vista still in the rather appropriately named Bloody Awful team. Not bloody awful at the moment, to be fair. He's made a decent fist of positions off the start. In fact, no, he hasn't. Sorry, he's lost a position off the start, but he is in P14 out of 36, and I feel like that's. I wouldn't necessarily call that bloody awful. I don't think.
Yeah, he's doing a good job at the moment, and 14th overall, and they currently sitting in the top 4 or top 5 in the silver class as someone decides to go do some off tracking there in the background. But looking at Craig Hewlett at the moment, they currently down in 22nd, and yeah, it seems to all by himself at the moment. He's got about probably a 1 second or 1.1 second gap behind him, so not really under any pressure at the moment.
Yeah, he's gaining a bit of time to Pagliara behind him at the moment. He's a little bit out of position. He's lost, I want to say 6 or 7 positions off the start. Sorry, 5 positions off the start. So he's one of those. He's not the biggest loser. The biggest loser is Jay Brooker. He's lost 26 positions off the start, and then Coupland second in that probably award that you don't really want to win. 24 positions lost. Big winners so far are Andre Bacek and Joran Omlo. Both having gained 11 positions apiece, and then Rob Besant, this man on your screen in the Rosas Racing Lamborghini, he's gained 10 positions. As I can see at the bottom of the screen, Ryan, we've got a stop go 30 for speeding in the pit lane. That will be for Poe in the Aston Martin F1 Aston Martin GT3, which is a mouthful to say the least. It's one of those, isn't it? You go into the pit lane a little bit too fast. You know you've done it, and you have to just sit there the whole time and just wait for the little box to pop up and say you've got it. And you think, oh, for goodness sake. Drives me mad. Done it so many times.
Yeah, and getting a stop go penalty for speeding in the pit lane. It's not something that you really want around here, or because the pit lane, it's a long. Well, it doesn't look it, but it is a long pit lane, and when you get a drive-through penalty or a stop and go penalty, it feels like you're in the pit lane for an eternity. And by the time you get out, you're pretty much around here anyway, probably about 1 lap down.
Exactly, and then you're stuck in that kind of. What am I trying to say? You're stuck in that kind of no man's land, aren't you? Where you're a lap down, you've got the battle packs coming past you, you've got to get out of the way, and it's just really frustrating. Like being in that position, because you're trying to get into that space, and in the space we can make those lap times, you can go as fast as you can, but it's so difficult to do so because you're just getting lapped every moment. It's very frustrating. Here we see Damien Konchik trying to get the move done on Ana Misalovic going into the first corner, or second corner, sorry, as you rightly pointed out, Ryan, earlier on in the stream. There is a little kink that apparently is classed as turn 1, and he does make that position stick. He's now going to focus on to the Porsche 992, the 24 car of Carlos Jurgelis, last season's Pro Championship winner. There's no chance he's going to be focusing on Miles Dixon, Ryan, because he has jetted off into the distance. He's 7.5 seconds ahead now.
Yeah, but Dixon's probably just pretty much took advantage of what's going on behind him, and his teammate Marcus is pretty much just helping him, and he's, in a way as well, he's pretty much being the cork in the bottle, if you like, in the commentary in terms of this part behind him. It's pretty much being held up by him, but I think Damien as well. I think he's eager to get by, but he just can't find an opportunity or find somewhere to pass. And I think Marcus at the moment is doing a good job of keeping this pack behind.
Yeah, he's definitely operating as the rear gunner, isn't he? He's doing a good job of that at the moment and continuing to maintain that gap. Ana Misalovic taking a slightly different line to everyone else as they go through there. You've got, so it's Carlos Jurgelis followed by Damien Konchik, Ana Misalovic, Marcus Hagen and Russell Matthewson, and then Dusan Vujanovic a second or so back. But it feels like probably one of those will change very quickly as we see Ana Misalovic aborts that lap and heads into the pit lane. So he will be an early pit stopper of the front runner. So he now, Ryan, will be the one we will keep an eye on to see where he comes out to. Let's see whether he gets some clear air in the first instance. There is a lot of cars on the back end of that track, so it'll be interesting to see where he filters out. And we'll have to keep an eye on his lap times to see where he fits in with the rest of them as well. It's going to be an interesting, probably next 15-20 minutes or so, as I would imagine would start to see the drivers coming in for their pit stops. And like we say, maybe trying to split this race half and half.
Yeah, I'm not really surprised to see Adam dive into the pits this stage already, because I think he probably senses he's being held up by the being in this pack, and it takes me back to my point. Diving into the pit lane early, even if I've still got 47 minutes left in this race, it's not a bad thing. It gives him clear air, get out there with fresh rubber, and put down some quick laps.
I know what you mean, mate. Don't worry, it's fine. You put your teeth back in and we'll go again. Oh, it's deep from Jurgelis is going to give him the opportunity. It's not, though. Oh, it's close. No, he didn't quite get it done. It looked like they were maybe just running two different lines there, do you think? Because it looked like Carlos Jurgelis was, for all intents and purposes, losing that position, and then somehow manages to pull that around and actually hold on to second place. So interesting to see, is Konchik going to look up the inside? Surely not. No, he's not. He's going to wait another couple of corners, but he's probing. Oh, has he just hit that yellow sausage curb? That was close. You talked about it enough times around, didn't you? It's one of them. It's such a scary point to get wrong. It's the last thing you want to hit, and when you're going that quickly and you've got a car that close in front of you, it's so easy to make that mistake and hit that sausage curb.
Indeed, and yeah, I have to go back as well. I thought it was Hagel was in second place. Hagel's back in fourth place, so I take that back. And Jurgelis is doing a good job of defending and keeping this pack behind. And you've got to think, David, that Damien behind is starting to get a little bit frustrated now. He knows he's quicker, but again, it's just a case of getting close enough, but he just can't get the move done.
Yeah, like you say, he's closing. He's just not close enough to make a move. Like it's not even like he can force anything really either, because he's got Hagel close enough behind, operating, I suppose, as the rear gunner for Carlos Jurgelis, just to keep him on his toes, knowing that if Damien makes a mistake on the move, he's going to lose the position again. So he's got to be measured. He's got to take his time. We're 15 minutes into a 60-minute race. We're a quarter of the way through. He's 8 seconds off the lead, but he has shown how quick he is. I've absolutely no doubt in my mind, if he gets past Jurgelis, he will start to close that gap up to Miles Dixon. So it's a matter of time. He's just got to try and stay cool. If he can get the move done, great, but just can't do anything silly like it looked like he was going to do there. It looked to me like he was going to try and send it up the inside there. I'm glad he didn't, because that would have been I think it probably would have been a day late and a dollar short, as they say, and he probably would have made a bit of an accident happen. He's very close now, though. I wonder if he's going to get that move done down the main straight instead.
Yeah, Damon's got a great exit there, and he's closer this time around. But again, it's a case of, can he get the slipstream? Can he get a run? And Jurgelis is going defensive, and Damien's going to have to go around. Contact! That was so unnecessary.
That was one of those where 2 into 1 wasn't going to go, and it clearly didn't. Let's have a little quick replay of that one before we move on. We'll see what happened here. As you see, just a case of Jurgelis, and well, to be fair, I say Jurgelis as if I was about to suggest it was someone's fault. It definitely wasn't anyone's fault at all. That was just a clear as you like racing incident, and that was it. It was one of those where, like you say, Ryan, it was just totally avoidable. Two cars going same place. Oh my word, what was that there? I think that was a server thing. Yes. Oh, where? No, it wasn't. What happened there?
Yeah, I thought there was a car going off in the
background.
That
was definitely Jay Brooker. Let's go back and see. I'm going to go back 30 seconds. I want to see exactly what happened here. Because he just drove straight on. And
I don't know.
I'm sensing shades. He's now left the server as well. I'm sensing shades of a bit of frustration maybe kicking in. It goes a little bit deep there. Yeah, that was I quit. I'm done. Leave me alone.
Yeah, that was a bit of a, as we like to call it in the sim racing world, a rage quit.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. That was not the nicest thing to see, but luckily it was. I'm just glad that he didn't hit anyone else, to be completely honest with you. So not the worst thing. I see Damien Konchik and Carlos Jurgelis both pitting after that incident between them. So maybe suggestions of a bit of damage between the two of them. So we'll see where they come out. Of course, now the battle comes in is with this man, Adam Misalovic. He's coming through the mid part of the circuit. He's coming through the S's and up towards Lee Cop at the top of the hill. When he comes back down, he'll be hoping that he can potentially get a couple of positions off those two in the pit lane. He's from what I can see, he's putting in some good lap times. His last lap time was a 1:41.9. So for all it's worth, it's possible, and maybe dare I say likely, that he's going to get at least one, if not both of them.
It's quite possible. I mean, excuse me. I think Adam maybe sensed that there was going to be trouble up ahead in front of him, so decided that pitting early is probably the best thing to do. And coming through the final couple of corners now, and Consix still in the pits, so I think Adam's easily going to jump him. And yeah, I think Consix probably got some damage as well, because I think he did hit the wall. So yep, and as I say that, Adam goes by and takes another position.
Yeah, so there you go, up into, he's what, a net P3, you would argue? He's actually come out further behind Jurglis than I would have thought he would, to be honest. He's lost quite a bit of time in that. I think, I'm pretty sure he was a bit closer before. So yeah, he's lost a little bit of time there, but importantly, he's made one of the positions. My guess is that Konchik has fixed any damage, whereas Jurglis hasn't done, or doesn't have any, because that gap between them wasn't, I mean, that's now what it is, 15 seconds pretty much. So there must have been some damage fixed there, because I don't think they were that far apart when they went into the pit lane.
Quite possible as Ottens goes a bit wide there onto the grass, and he's under pressure now from Carson behind in the Ferrari, and
sliding through.
A bit of a slide job there on the exit, and it looks like Carson's going to make a move heading down to turn 2, and heading through the turn 1 kink, and it looks like Ottens is trying to squeeze him a little bit, but he leaves just enough room, and I think Carson might gain the position, as they're still side by side. And this is a section that I never like to go through side by side, because sometimes it can end up in disaster. But either way, it looks like Ottens holds on to that position.
Yeah, sensible if a little cautious from Carson there. I felt. I totally agree with you for what it's worth. Like it's not the kind of part. It's not the part of the track where you want to be going too wide, because it's a lot narrower than the cameras on that we're seeing suggest. But I do feel like Carson was alongside enough that he could have forced a little bit, as Remco Ottens is sliding again through one of the corners around this Kyalami Grand Prix circuit, the clubhouse this time. His team name is Spinning Expert. He's I mean, he's not spinning, but he's certainly a drifting expert at the moment, given the way he is tweaking that back end of that Porsche 992. Whoa, big send from the BMW of Butchick there. Goodness me. That's a huge send. I need to see that back on the replay. I need a helicam view of this. I'm surprised he even got it stopped. I felt like he just appeared out of nowhere.
Yeah, I was going to say that was a bit of a Max Verstappen style send.
I tell you what, he did a fantastic job of keeping it on the track, and I would argue that Simon Carson did an equally good job of not actually getting collected from it as well. Here's a battle for P13. Gilles, Omlo and Raddenbury throwing their kitchen sink at it at the moment. Raddenbury is just about going to get Omlo, is he? So they go into Cheetah, into the left, into the right-hander. Neither of them touch the sausage curb, and yes, as a result, Raddenbury does get that move done. Ollie Gilles will be next on his hit list. It's a Posper kind of run at the moment. Ollie Gilles, Mark Raddenbury, Joran Omlo, and although he's not on the same lap as them, Colin Dunn sitting behind them as well. So it's nice to see a lot of Posper cars in a little train. Oh, that's close. That's Rich Pixley trying to get the move done on Craig Hewlett in the Porsche. That Nissan is an absolute weapon in a straight line, but not seemingly right now. That's a good move from Pixley there. Just gets it sent up the inside.
And as Pixley goes by, he gives a bit of a hip check as well. So yeah, that Nissan GTR, it's even though it doesn't get used a lot these days, or hardly ever gets used now, it's still a quick car in a straight line, and that's mainly down to the Nissan not having that much. Pretty much doesn't really have any drag. So in a straight line, it's absolutely just like you say, it's an absolute beast.
Absolutely. Just a quick update. Damien Konchik, fastest lap of the race, a 1:41.162, 3 tenths faster than anyone else. So he's clearly showing some serious pace. He's catching Adam Isalovic. Not really. They are catching. No, to be fair, they are catching Jurglis a small amount, but not by any kind of really significant measure. As Mark Raddenbury gets another position, going up to the top of the hill through Laycop, and gets the move done on Ollie Gilles and gets himself up into P13 now. So good moves from Posper Bossman, getting himself up the order a little bit more as this race continues on. That 7 positions gained for him in this one so far. Where else have we got going on here? We've got Adam Isalovic going around the outside of Thomas Hackinson at the top of the hill. Looks to me like Hackinson there, Ryan. Maybe didn't make that too difficult, you would argue. And again, probably playing that bigger picture strategy, you'd think.
Yeah, and I think he realises that Adam's probably quicker as well, being on fresher rubber as well. So yeah, Adam's not wasting any time, and up into P22 at the moment, but obviously people in front of him have still got to make their pit stop, so Adam's not messing around. Gained several positions since his pit stop, and I think definitely it looked like the car behind was playing the long game and decided not to make a big deal of it.
Yeah, see, it certainly seems that way. You've got Damien Konchik a bit further behind as well. He's got a BMW that he's going to be lapping, and that's Martinez, who he'll be lapping in a couple of moments' time. There he is, job done. He gets himself up position. So Adam Vasalovic is probably going to be keeping just as much of an eye on the gap ahead to Jurgelis as he is on the gap behind to Konchik, which is minimising by the corner, it seems. He's just over 3 seconds back now from Isalovic, and yeah, continuing to put in some seriously quick lap times. A 1:41.5 on that lap, half a second quicker than anyone else. Next fastest car was Jurgelis and Dixon, both doing a 1:41 mid, kind of 1:41.96, 97. So he's showing the pace, Ryan, that I think we probably expected him to, just not necessarily in the frame of the race that we might have expected that to happen. Obviously, given the probably maybe earlier pit stop that he would have planned, given that incident he had with Jurgelis a few laps ago.
Yeah, it's just the way it goes, and I think just thinking about that incident with them as well, with Damien and I can't remember who it was. It was in this Pulse Simsport Porsche. That incident into turn 2 was just not necessary. And I think looking back at it, I think the Porsche just moved over slightly, and that caused a bit of an incident. But sometimes that's the way it goes, and it's just one of those things. But thankfully, it's only round 1 of the season, so still plenty of time for the rest of the season to get some good results as we look at Craig Hewlett and Richard Pixley in the Wild Things Racing Nissan GTR, currently 17th at the moment, and I think not too long before he gets by Craig if he gets an opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like he's done this move already. Did they not have a battle going into the first corner about 2 laps ago, and they've just reverted again, which is a strange one. As we see this, you see just in front of them, Roddenberry and Omlo battling all the way through the S's. They're going to be side by side through there. As Roddenberry's off, Roddenberry's in the wall. 2 into 1, very much not looking like it was going to go there. Let's see if we can catch what's happened here. They're side by side coming through Clubhouse, going up towards the S's. And is it just going to be a little... Oh, and he loses it on his own. Oh, no. Either a massive bit of netcode or he lost it all on his own. Did Mark Roddenberry there. Shame for him, as we see a couple of other drivers. So Hagel, Knott and Neuteling's all in the pits now as well.
Yep, everyone deciding to make a pit stop now, and there's, like I was talking about, some drivers are maybe trying to try and get close to the halfway mark, or try and get below just below the halfway mark. So I think I think some of these drivers dive into the pits now, and Adam Isalovic, I probably butchered that name up. As you can tell, David, I'm not good at pronouncing names, so yeah, Adam's still making up positions, and he's up into P22, but obviously with some cars in front of him pitting, he'll probably gain some more.
Absolutely. For what it's worth, I think Adam, I've said his name about 1 million times. I just say it the way I think it is now. He'll probably correct you even if it was right. Having been a friend of Adam's for a while, I know that it's very difficult to pronounce it right, and I'm sure he won't. Anyway, I'm just looking at this at the moment. So Jurgelis on screen now, 42.0 on the last lap. He's gotten past Hagel in the pit stop phase. So Hagel now just ahead of Isalovic, just behind him. Konchik a further 3.5 seconds behind these two. Did another very, very quick lap on the last time around, a 41.2. 0.3 quicker than Isalovic on that tour of the circuit. And these guys have got I'm not sure who that is in front of them. It's not someone who's actually on track with him. It's Karayanis, I think. Yeah, it's Nick Karayanis ahead of them, so he's a lap down, so he'll hopefully for them jump out of the way in a little moment. But yeah, it's all starting to spice up a little. We've got a few pit stops coming in now because Dusan Vojinovic is in the pit lane now as well. So at the moment, I'm thinking that it is. Sandwich looks at the inside. He's going to use it to his advantage. Is he? He's going to try and get down the inside. Oh, this could work out awfully for Hagel if it has done, and it looks like it might. Oh, it has. Oh, that is heartbreaking for Hagel. Is he going to try and make the move going into the right-hander? No, he's not. Oh, you've got a feel for him there, haven't you, Ryan? That was there was nothing untoward. Like, there was no way that Nick was doing anything naughty there. It was just so unfortunate that he hadn't have gotten out of the way a little bit sooner, and ultimately kind of gave Adam that position.
Yeah, it's just the nature of Kyalami, like we were talking about at the start. Excuse me, at the start of the broadcast, the lap markers. It's sometimes difficult for them to get out of the way because you say, for example, they could be involved in their own battle, or it's just a part of the track they get caught up in quicker than expected, and they can't really do anything. Yeah,
exactly. It's a tough one, and like you say, it kind of harks back to what we were saying during the qualifier session. Like, there's not that many places to overtake around here. It is quite difficult to continue in that continue kind of giving those gaps up. So it's a tough one. As all Joran Omlo goes a little bit wide there. He's somehow made it up to P6, and I say that in the nicest way possible. He's made 21 positions off the start. He hasn't pitted yet, of course, which is well worth pointing out. None of the top 10 have. Jurgelis being the first of any driver who has pitted on track. As you see, Russell Matthewson comes in now, but you can see the difference in pace, can't you, Ryan? With that V12, it's just struggling a little bit as he loses 2 positions in the space of pretty much 2 corners to Hewlett and Pixley.
Yeah, and the Aston Martin V12, it never gets used these days from what I see. But yeah, it's good to see it still being used in this race with Omlo, and Omlo unfortunately just lost a couple of positions after running wide and actually decides to come into the pit, so he'll probably lose several positions and fall back down to, I'm guessing he'll fall back down roundabout probably close to the near end of the top 20.
Yeah, he's going to drop down quite a bit. I mean, so who's pitted around there at the moment? You're probably looking at Husting, I would think, maybe kind of mid-23s, as you see a fastest lap time for Damien Konchik, a 1:41.160. That is ridiculous in race trim. I've never seen anything like it. This pace is something else. It just begs the question, doesn't it? Where would he have been had he not lost those positions off the start of the race? Like would he have been far ahead? Would he have managed that gap? Like, it does beg the question.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I think if he had a decent start and they actually managed to get away, I think he would have brought up a reasonable gap. But credit to Miles Dixon, he's managed to pull away while everyone else has been having issues or scrapping amongst themselves, and they built up a really comfortable margin at the moment as he comes by some lap traffic. And Miles Dixon, actually we should call Miles Dixon. They should call his nickname should be the Sandbagger.
He's definitely very good at sandbagging indeed. He's I think the thing that's benefiting him at the moment is obviously, for one, the fact that he's not been caught up in anything. That's obviously, I would say, largely probably the most important part of this race for him so far. But secondly, he's been consistently quick. Like, I'm looking at his lap times. I obviously can't see every single one of them, but he's within probably half a second of his best lap every lap now. Maybe most being sort of 7/10 up on it. So he's doing a really good job of not just being quick, but actually kind of continuing to run consistently quick as well, which I think is probably fair to say is probably the most important that you can do in any race. It's not just the ones that scare me, particularly if I'm driving, aren't the ones who are quicker than me. It's the well, I mean, they do a little bit, but it's the ones who are consistently like pretty quick, if you know what I mean. So maybe not lighting it up every single lap, but consistently like just off the main pace. They worry me. They scare me because I feel like they're going to appear and just zoom past me because I can't keep the same lap time for 30 laps in a row.
Yeah, indeed. And looking at Adam at the moment, currently up into 5th place now, so he's got another couple of cars in front of him that still need to pit, so they're not in the same class by the looks of it. They're in the AM class, so Adam should, when the pit stops phase out, I think he should be back up inside the top 3, I believe.
I think you're right, yeah. So we've got Jurgelis, the man on your screen at the moment. He is currently sitting net P2. Very much depends on what Miles Dixon does. He's in the pit lane now. Of course, he did have a pretty sizable gap before the pit stop phase. And from what lap times I've seen, I don't think Carolis has the ultimate pace on these new tyres to actually get that done. I can see Dixon is now moving in pit lane. So he's now coming out. He's back onto the straight. He's back onto the track. And Jurgelis is about probably 15 seconds back, I would say. Maybe a little bit less than that, actually. Maybe about 10. So he's got a bit of work to do, and I think the important thing for Miles, obviously, is the fact that he's now coming out right and he's got fresh tyres for the final 25 minutes. Jurgelis, of course, pitted. When did he pit? He's done 15 minutes on this stint, so he pitted, 15 minutes ago. So that's going to be a big detriment to him, you'd think, in terms of the tyre life coming towards the back end of the race.
Yeah, I think that when it comes to fresher tyres, I think Miles is on a better advantage because he pitted later and he's on fresher tyres, so he's on about probably, trying to guess, probably about 15 minutes, pretty much fresher tyres either way, so the advantage is to him, and Dixon just needs to just keep doing what he's doing and not do anything too dramatic, and yeah, he's done a solid job so far. This man here, though, I think he'll be really frustrated because he probably feels he could have been up there challenging for the win, but it's just... Yeah. It's one of those races where it's what if?
It feels like a big missed opportunity, 100%. I think he arguably should be further up on the grid or on the track than he is. Ultimately, it's not turned out that way. He's P6 on the road at the moment. I know it says P7, but we know that Macieras has to pit, so we know that will change. He's done the fastest lap by a good 0.3 of a second. He's clearly got the pace. I think he's just unfortunate. He's just stuck behind people who are... It's one of those things, isn't it? You benefit, don't you, when you're behind another driver who's quick. If you can stay with them, it will massively gain you time, because I'm sure you'd agree, it's so much easier to follow a car than it is to run on your own to get fast lap times in.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking at his battle for P4. Well, I was going to say P4, but probably P4, P5, P6, and a bit of a pack starting to form as well. And Damien again tries to go for the move and trying to distract Hago in front of him, but just can't find an opportunity to get the move done. And it must be so frustrating. And I think after that incident with Jurgelis as well, I think he'll be mighty frustrated, and I think I'll be interested to see what the stewards think of that incident.
Yeah, it's a tough one. So standard pos per rules for those of you who don't know, pit wall, blah blah blah. Put your teeth back in, David. I still can't say it. Protests is the word I'm looking for. They remain open for 24 hours after the race is finished. So the stewards normally look at them sort of start next week. So we should find out something. Well, we'll easily find out something before the next round. We should find out something by this time next week. So I have no idea. It will entirely depend on whether they protest it, because the guys don't go and look at stuff that isn't raised. Because obviously, there's so much time in the world, isn't there? So it would depend. I don't know whether they will. I would imagine, obviously, Carlos Jurgelis is clearly not going to protest it. It just depends on whether this man, Damien Conchit, will instead. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, indeed. And looking at Damien still, or we were looking at Damien, but looking at Andre Batek now down in 13th. And yeah, having a decent race so far. It's doing well. And he's under a bit of pressure from, it looks like Carson at the moment. But obviously Carson's in the AM class. And I think if you're in a different class, David, you've got to think of the long game and not do anything too risky, even especially if you're doing well in your class, and if you don't want to take any risks. At the moment, it looks like Carson's leading the AM class. Yeah,
definitely, mate. I think, like you say, it's Carson's got about 8.5, 9 seconds back to Husting in P2 in the AM class. So he has got plenty of time. Like he'd be sensible, and I imagine he probably is at the moment. To be fair, he'd be sensible to just maintain that gap. There's no point, like you say, battling with a car in a completely different category. Yes, there's yes, there's an overall championship. Yes, there's bragging rights involved and things like that, but there is no benefit to move over to this battle between Neutelings and Vujinovic. There is no benefit to him having that battle with him because he's just going to slow himself down and ultimately puts himself into peril or into the clutches potentially of Husting, who, yeah, like I say, will be probably sniffing a chance at an AM class victory in his first round of here with Positive Perception.
Yeah, absolutely. If he holds on for the AM class win, it'll be a good start to the season. As we look further up the field, looking at Neuton's in ninth place at the moment, and in front of him is Not. So both these cars, battling for second and third in the silver class, and it looks like Neuton's is trying to hold on to that position, but yeah, I think doing a good job trying to keep that position. But I think if Wojciech, sorry, there's again I butchered that name. I was talking about. I'm not good at pronouncing names, but looks like Dustin, if he can get a good run here, he might be able to make the move into turn two. Sorry.
Yeah, he's not got the best of runs out of the final corner, and that Ferrari is a fairly decent handful in the straight line, to be fair, isn't it? So he's going to have to put a little bit of work on to get that move done. He's, of course, Vujinovic is, yes, slightly out of position, you'd argue. He probably should be up in that battle for sort of P5, P6. Speaking of the battle up there, see Russell Matthieson has gotten himself past Adam Misalovic, so he's now up into P3. The gap between first, second and third is relatively big. And then there is, there's a much smaller gap back to 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th, which is, Isalovic, Hagel, Konchik, and now Van Kollenberg has got onto the swing of things as well. So there's a lot to play out still in the final 20 minutes.
Yeah, indeed. And looking at the third place man at the moment, we're looking at Russell here as well in third place, doing a good job. And I have to say, Russell's probably been having a bit of a quiet race, but having a quiet race is not always a bad thing. While everyone else is tripping up amongst themselves.
Yeah, 100%. I dream of a quiet race. We see Miles Dixon dips into the 40s. A 40.707 is the fastest lap of this race so far. Those times coming to you courtesy of Pitwall Live. I feel like that was a very big plug. I wasn't intending it to sound as pluggy as it did, but we love the guys over at Pitwall, Chris and the team. If you haven't seen it, we have got the live timing pinned in the chat as well. So if you want to have a look at it, myself and Ryan are using it. Ryan probably more so than me, to give you all this juicy content on the stream. So if you want to see what we can see, then head on over to the link in the chat and see what you're missing out on. While you're there, head over and hit the subscribe button and the like button on the stream for the guys as well, because it always goes a long way. And thank you to those who've been nattering away in the chat. I've just noticed, I missed this earlier, I've just noticed Alex's message saying, go on, Joran. I think that was probably back to when he was up in P6. Going back to him, we talked about him, Ryan, he's P21 at the moment. So you were pretty much right, just on the outskirts of the top 20. So good call there.
Yeah, not bad, considering that calling strategies is not really my strong point. But yeah,
I don't think it is for many, to be fair.
But looking at Ricardo Bassarea at the moment, doing a good job in 18th, and currently sitting in the top 3 in the AM class. So yeah, a good run by Ricardo at the moment as he tries to get by.
That is Houston that he's going to get past, yeah. So
get by Houston as well. So under a bit of pressure from Pixley, I think if I'm Ricardo, don't make a big deal of trying to keep Pixley behind, because Pixley is in a different class.
Yeah, exactly. And it looks like that move might happen in a second. He's going to potentially let it go up. And that's a very scratched and dirty-looking Nissan GTR. He's going to look at getting him around the inside. Oh, bit of contact. Oh, my word. Oh, my goodness me. I thought that was going to be Ricardo Massiera in the wall and crying his way back to his home, wherever he's from. But that was so close between the two of them. I think there was contact. So I don't know how Massiera has gotten away without coming off the track there. That was incredible.
That was a pretty much a heart and mouth moment there. I think I dread to think what it was like for Ricardo and Richard there, because that was Well, that was a bit of a sketchy moment there. That could have ended up being a big incident, but credit to both drivers. They managed to keep it in one piece and they keep going.
Yeah, it was heart in mouth moment, has to be said. Nick Carson looking good for the AM win here. I wonder if there is some family relations there, as whatever relation Simon is to Nick is as he says, on his way potentially towards a debut AM class victory with 17 minutes to go in this one. A quick roundup of where we are in this race so far is Miles Dixon leading the way. Carlos Jurgelis 40 or 15 seconds adrift in P2 with Russell Matthieson 5 seconds off of him. Adam Misalovic is in P4, a further 3 seconds back, and then it's a little gaggle of cars of Konchik, Hagel and Van Collenberg, 5th, 6th and 7th. Liam Knott, Justin Van Visser and Rekmo Ottens are the top 10. And then we continue down with a lot of other people, as Nick Carson mentioned. Apparently Simon would be disappointed he's not in the top 10. I mean, he's if he can gain 12.5 seconds, he will be very much on the back, because this is the battle for P10. There's Remco Ottens, Martin Eutelings and Dusan Vojinovic getting past Jamie Buchanan in one of the back marks at the moment. It's a possibility if they keep battling. 17 minutes is a long time, isn't it, Ryan? So you never know.
Yeah, you never know. And Otten's doing a good job as well in the top 10 overall. And it looks like Neutelans is trying to make a move back up the inside. And both of them leave each other just enough room as well. And I think Neutelans, if he gets an opportunity, he might try and make a move down this home straight if he can get close enough. But yep, Otten's doing a good job, and it's been a great. I have to say, it's been a great race for the first round of the season. There's been plenty of action going on and plenty of talking points, and I think there's several drivers to keep an eye out for this season.
Yeah, and this is it. Like, we've got a lot of new people in this series. Like, I can probably count at least a dozen drivers that I've yet to see in this championship before. So you're absolutely right. It's going to be one of those season, or at least one of those first races it has been, where it's been loads of action. There's been a couple of incidents here and there, but it's people, I suppose, getting used to driving with other people they've potentially never driven with before. It does have an impact. So it's good to see that it's not been as busy as you might have expected with that in mind.
Yeah, indeed. Still, Ottens is holding on to this P10 position at the moment with Neutelans just starting to drop back ever so slightly. And Neutelans is he's got his mirrors filled now, so he's having to basically drive using his rear mirror instead of focusing what's on in front of him as well. It's like Dustin. I was saying Dustin. I mean Dustin. They're trying to make a run there, but it gets a bit of a slide on there.
Yeah, a bit of a tank slapper coming out of the hairpin at the top of the hill, back through Laycop. He managed to hold it, but he looked like he might have been on for a potential move there as they all just go past Nick Karayanis, although Dusan Vojinovic does just give him a little hip check on the way through. Back up to the battle for P4. Konchik has made his way past Hagel and is now setting his targets firmly on Adam Misalovic, so he's starting to find that groove again. Now that he's again just got himself a little bit of space. He's put some lap times in 41.8, on the last lap. So still supremely quick. But has he got enough time, Ryan? Do you think he's got 3.8 seconds to Matthieson in front? He was there, just coming through your picture in the foreground a second ago. If Konchik gets this move done, has he got enough time to get onto the back of Matthieson? That's the big question.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I don't know if it depends how quickly he can get by Adam here. But I think on the other hand, Adam's doing a good job of holding on to say P4 position. But I think Damien, if he gets a run, he's going to send it, and he's not willing to back out of it, because I think he wants a podium position. But can he catch up to P3 in front of him? That question remains to be answered.
Yeah, that is definitely the big question. It's going to be interesting to see how it will play out over the final 13 minutes. One thing I do know is that Adam Misalovic is a tough nut to crack. It's very, very difficult to get under his skin and really put the pressure on. He can be very much like a stone sometimes. I have spent enough laps in my sim racing career sitting firmly behind him and trying to do exactly what Damien Konchik does there. Just show him the mirrors, get in there, kind of show him the moves, kind of see if we can put him off a little bit. I've never ever managed to actually put him off. He is supremely difficult to get into the head of. So it's not going to be easy. And the problem he's got is that Matheson is starting to build a little bit of a gap here. He's now 4 seconds. He's gained about half a second in the last lap on these two, just by having a bit of clear air in front of him. So Konchik is going to be sitting there, almost willing his way past the Ferrari of Isalovic, the Treble One machine. Sooner he can get it done, like you say, Ryan, sooner he can get back up to there. But he's got to do it quickly, you think.
And while these guys scrap away for P4 and P5, Hagel is not too far in the background there in P6. So if these two keep scrapping away, that's going to give Hagel an opportunity to catch up and make it a freeway fight. And with the three of these cars battling away, if it comes to that, it's given it gives a P3 a chance to just build that gap.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of them, like you say, you're kind of dependent on the people in front of you. If you can't get past them, you're determined to run at their pace. And Adam's pace, although it's not slow, is slower than Matheson at the moment, and that's the important thing. And it looks to me like Konchik is really trying to put the hammer down now. He is super close to him. Look at this from the helicopter. You see how close he is now. He's going to be pushing him all the way down the straight. You can see closing the gap, closing. Goes to the right-hand side. He's going to look to go the outside line through the second corner into Crowthorne. He's going to be late on the brakes, almost brakes simultaneously going into that corner. He's going to try and hang it around the outside. It's going to be a big move to get it done here. They're going to be side by side going through the Drips K sweep. Oh. No, they're not. Oh, that was super close. Really good racing between the two of them. Close, right, Ryan, but not too close like we saw with Konchik and Jurgelis earlier on in the race. That was some good games, a good showmanship and some good racecraft from both of those.
Yeah, that was good racecraft between both of them, but both of them slowing each other up, and it's allowed Hagel to close up in the background. And like I said, it's turned into a freeway fight now. As P3, just as you see there, just coming through the shot, is definitely building that gap up now.
Yeah, it's ebbing and flowing is the term I'd like to use. And you're right, Hagel doesn't look like he's got the pace. For whatever reason. I don't really know why he doesn't. He's pitted. When did he pit? He pitted just before. Sorry, in fact, he pitted a little bit after both of these drivers. So he's on a much shorter stint time than everyone else is around him. So it's interesting that this is kind of developing the way it is, because he's actually losing time to them when they're not battling. So he's almost kind of determined to see a battle between them, but he's not getting what he wants at the moment. As always, Salovic goes very wide through the exit of Cheetah there, going into Ingwe for the final corner. Goes wide again. This is not exactly what we're talking about. He's going very much against what I said he was a minute ago, being a stone of a person. You can't actually get past him. But is he going to look for it? Oh, Konchik looks down the inside, but Salovic has got that covered. Goes into the second corner. They're going to be super close. Tries around the outside again. Goes for the cutback this time. Can't get it done. There's nothing coming. He's trying, Ryan, every trick in the book, but he's not getting through.
Yeah, and credit to Adam. There's a car around there facing and then the inside wall. What's a rejoin? Oh, but I have to say, Adam's doing a great job of defending. He's defending hard, but he's defending fair. And again, Damien just can't really do anything. And Hagel, as you say, he keeps catching up to this battle in front of him, but it's just I think he just doesn't have the pace to keep up with both these guys in front. And I think trying to make Adam make a mistake is a pretty tough job. Yeah,
exactly. It's well, as the late great Murray Walker did say, it's one thing getting up to someone, but getting past them is quite another. And Adam Isalovic is certainly proving that point in head of Damien Konchik at the moment. Hagel is very much back on the back rear of these two again. So again, courtesy of the battling has given him a chance to catch them up again. Whether he can make a move though depends. If you're Hagel in this position, right? Are you sitting there? Are you gonna try and make your move, or are you gonna just hope that you can have some kind of opportunistic chance to make the move whilst they're battling? What would your kind of thought process be at this stage?
I think if I'm Hagel, if I catch up to this battle, I won't try and make a move straight away. I'll watch and kind of analyse the situation, what these guys are doing, see what's happening, maybe just hang back a little bit, and if these guys in front of him they get caught up with each other, he could be there to pick up a couple of positions and they pick up the pieces, as they say in the motorsport terms. And like Hagel at the moment is just kind of just like I say, just watching and seeing what happens. As it looks like they've got a bit of a lap traffic in front of them, which could play a factor in this battle.
It really will, yeah. It's another element that just adds to a little bit of spice in the situation that we've got here. Is Adam Salovich goes a little bit over the curve on the inside of Clubhouse there and just upsets the car a little bit. This is the closest battle on track. We have got some other battles kicking around further down the grid, but this is the one that I want to kind of keep us focused on. They've got the Aston Martin of Poe just ahead of them. So, he goes deep into the corner there. He just gives Konchik a little taste. We're hopefully not going to see a repeat of what happened to Hagel and Asalovic. No, we're not. So Poe does get out of the way nice and quickly, although Hagel will be stuck behind him for that sweeping left-hander, but gets that move done now. And Asalovic has to turn his attention to defending once more. That is, I think, the last back marker for a little while. The next one or two is Mark Radenbries, the 750, and Michael de Groot, who had just headed. Oh, Asalovic having to defend on the inside. I was looking at the timing chart. I didn't even see that. What happened there? I need to go back and see a replay of it. What happened?
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm sure something happened. It was like, that was
so it was a move. It was
a nice switchback.
It was. I was going to say it was almost a really good move from Konchik, but then as a result, oh no, contact! What's happened here? We've hit the wrong replay button, Ryan. What's going on? Let's come back and see what happens here. Let's go to the helicam and see this. Another send from Konchik. Oh, it's covered off by Asalovic, and it's clumsy. It is clumsy.
Yeah, that was a bit. Yeah, I think Adam. From what I see, Adam was just in front there into the corner, and I think Damien, actually, as I say that, Damien's gave the position back, so good sportsmanship. As it looks
he's
like
not
Adam
hanging around
right
though. Oh, goodness me. Shoves his way through to get himself back up into P6. That was a ballsy move from Konchik there. That was, I think it's probably safe to say, Ryan, that was frustration boiling over to a certain extent, wasn't it?
Yep, and with that drama going on, it's like I said before, Hagel was hanging back, and he done a good thing hanging back, and he's gained 2 positions up into P4.
Exactly, the ultimate beneficiary. Let's have a look back at the battle for P15, because we've got a lot of cars battling for it at the moment. We've got Bacek currently holding that position and holding P15 on the road. He's got Craig Hewlett just behind him, and then Rich Pixley behind him with Andrew Husting and Ricardo Maciera behind him as well. So that's your battle for P15. Every single car in that clip that we just saw, they are super close. Pixley's going to try Hewlett again. This is a battle that I feel like we've watched about 1 million times already this race, and I'm enjoying it, and I'm glad it's here to stay. Hopefully we'll keep this for the final 4.5 minutes of this race. One thing that is pretty much in the books is Miles Dixon looks like he is pretty much set to take the win in this curtain raiser of the season. Karel Jurgel is sitting in P2 with a 4-second gap back to Russell Matthieson, who's then got a further 10 seconds pretty much back to Marcus Hagel. So the top 4, maybe even your top 6, depending on how much Konchik can do in the next few laps, is pretty much in the books. But there's battles all over the track. Still to be done. Craig Hewlett looking up the inside. Pixley he's gone. We'll come back to him in a minute. He'll appear in a second, I'm sure. He's actually appeared on the inside of Craig Hewlett, and rather appropriately has made the move stick. I'm hoping for Craig's sake that wasn't something that he saw as well. I'm hoping he stayed on his screen for the entire time. And I have just seen a yellow flag for Damien Konchik, so he's back down into P8. Not sure what happened. We'll see if we can get a replay of it in a second, but not going his way tonight.
Indeed, and drama going on in the closing stages of this race, and it looks like Pixley's under pressure from Hewlett, and it looks like Hewlett's under pressure from Huston as well. So plenty of battles going on as we come into pretty much the final 3 minutes. So we should have about, I'm guessing, round about 3 laps. Is there someone sideways?
Yeah, that was Maciera sideways going through there. I don't know what's happened. Not sure if there was a coming together between himself and any of these other guys. It looks like he gets a really good exit, goes around Andrew Husting, and 2 into 1. Yeah, I mean that was a tough one. That wasn't. I wouldn't necessarily say that was anyone's fault because Masiera was trying to go for the move and hit that kind of little curb on the inside of that left-right sweep, and then really had nowhere to go. So I'm chalking that down. I hate to steward when I'm commentating, but I'm chalking it down as a racing incident.
Yeah, just a racing incident, I think, and the Pixel as well doing a good, considering the Nissan GTR doesn't seem to get used that much these days. He's doing a good job, and I think doing a good job in 15th place, and I think his team owner will pretty much be smiling or be pretty happy with the job that Richard's doing. And for anyone that doesn't rate, anyone that's not heard of her, Denise Pope is the owner of Wild Fins Racing, and I think she'll be sitting watching this pretty happy.
Yeah, you should be pleased with that. Yeah, he gained a position off the start, and I think that's all you can hope for when you're when you choose the lesser spotted car like the GTR or the V12 or the Bentley or anything like that. So it's good to see he's made some moves. He's had to work for it. I think that is probably fair to say. He's had to put a lot of effort in to try and get that done, as Ollie Gio makes a move on Andre Bacek, gets himself up into P18. I was hoping we might have seen a better battle there, but it looks like he's just done it anyway, and that is one of the Ferraris of Pole Supersport in the background. In fact, that is Miles Dixon. That is your race leader, so this will be the final tour of the race for him and for everyone else. You'd be thinking, wouldn't you, Ryan, if you're in this position now, you might just go, oh, leader's in front of me, I don't need to do another lap, I'll just let him through.
Yeah, quite possible. I mean, some drivers, if they're in a good position in class, they probably prefer just to stay behind the leader, because it means they don't have to do, they don't have to do another lap, and it means if someone's catching them, it means it gives the driver behind less opportunities to try and catch and make a move. But as I look back further down the field, looking at 11th place overall, Otten's currently running in P2, P3, P4 in class at the moment. So yeah, doing a good job, and still he's under attack from the Notlands as well.
Yeah, Dutch on Dutch. We're going double Dutch. Oh, I've been wanting to say that for years. I finally feel like there's a good reason to do it. Yeah, we're going double Dutch onto the final lap with these two. Ottens is still ahead of Neutlings, but only just for the time being. We'll come back. In fact, we'll see how these guys go through the first corner. Will Neutlings make an almighty send, or will he hold on and try and go around the outside? He looks like he's going to do neither. He's going to look for a potential cutback instead, but it's not going to happen. Let's go back to this man who's coming around the final couple of corners. He has been untouchable throughout the entirety of this race. He has led every single lap. Once he got into the lead, he was completely supreme. As he comes through the final corner for the final time, for the 34th time, Miles Dixon will come over the line to win the first round of the Positive Perception GT Championship here at the Kyalami Grand Prix circuit. Carlos Jurgelis will come round a rough 20 seconds adrift of his Pole Simsport teammate, but the 24 car, the reigning pro champion, will come through to consolidate well in the first round of the season with a P2, and it will be Russell Matthieson in a second in that pink Ferrari in the background that will cross the line to come through and round out the podium positions in the pro class. As far as your silver class is concerned, it'll be this man, Ivo van Collenberg, who will come through to take the win in that one. Liam Knott will come through a further 6 seconds back and take second place in class for that one, and Justin Van Visser, for all intents and purposes, will come through and you'd think will take the win, take the final podium position, sorry, in the AM class. Let's go back to this one, because Remco Ottens has been pressurised by Mark Neutlings on the final lap. I thought he got the move done, but he couldn't hold on to it. So it looks like Remco is going to come through for that fourth in class that you mentioned, Ryan, and just about going to hold on. And it looks to me, Nick's going to be very happy indeed, I'm sure, because whatever relation he is to him, as we see him cross the line, no, he's not going to get it done. So you see, whatever relation Simon is to him, Simon is going to cross the line in a moment's time, and he'll take the win in the AM class as well. And then Husting will come second in that one. Masiera will finish third. He's already crossed the line. Is he going to get the move? Is he going to hold on to position 13th on the line? Yes, he is. Oh, nice to see a little bit of spice kicking off at the end of it as well. That, Ryan, was great fun. Thoroughly enjoyed that. I mean, when you have a race like that, where'd you start?
I have no idea. There was so much action going on, and great racing as well. Yeah, we had some incidents during the race, but I think it's just Yeah, it's just the nature of the close GT3 racing and the nature of this the Kyalami track as well. But great race nevertheless, and Miles Dixon pretty much put in a dominating performance.
He absolutely did. He was almost untouchable in that race. To be fair, I think there was a little bit of work that he needed to do at the start to get a few positions off the start of the race. But once he got into that first place, he was, like I say, supremely quick, and there was really no concerns. I think anyone on his side of the garage, anyone supporting him, that he would have had anything other than the win. So yeah, fantastic result from him. Good way to start the season. We'll see whether he can continue that form for the next 4 rounds. One person we'll have to keep an eye out, of course, is going to be Damien Konchik. He was so quick, like so quick in that qualifying session, wasn't he? Just had to keep it clean's not the right word. I mean, it kind of is, but you felt like if he'd have kept himself out of trouble, that issues that he had never would have come to fruition, would they? So maybe for next time he'll be hoping for a slightly cleaner race, you think?
Yeah, I think he'll be hoping for a better race next time out at the next round at Suzuka. I think he'll be hoping for a better race, and I think it's points during the race, especially towards the end, I think frustration just got to him a little bit when he was stuck behind a sail of it there towards the end. But it's just the way it goes sometimes, and I think but I think next time out at Suzuka, hopefully he can rebound and get a good result.
Yeah, I'm sure. He's clearly shown he's got the pace to do it. So I've got absolutely no doubt in my mind that something like that will come his way if he keeps doing what he's doing. Well, there we go then, folks. That is a wrap for round number 1 of the Positive Perception GT Championship season number 9. Fantastic first race to kick off the season. It's just, I say that, my ACC has decided to give it the ghost. So it's a good time that happened after the race and not before. Ryan, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you in for this first round of the season. Hopefully, you'll come back and see us again in a couple of weeks' time. Does that sound like a good idea?
Yeah, I'll definitely be back for round 2 in a couple of weeks' time. And it's been a pleasure calling the action with you, with your good self, David, and looking forward to more of the same as the season goes on.
Absolutely. Let's get 4 more races just like that, please. On behalf of myself, David Ressel, and Ryan Walker alongside me, we've been your commentary team for this evening. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time for the next round at Suzuka. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Broadcast.